Yo, 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 welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. And before we get to our guest today, we have a big shout out for Living Sisu. Living Sisu is a platform and app that wants to give you all the tools to have success in your sport. Their main objective is to activate your lifestyle. So it's for active people. Enjoy discounts at companies like BioSteel, 30% off, Body Logics, the Goalie Guild, all his books are discounted. Roan, Lululemon for men, 20% off, online stretching programs with Eccentrics, 1 full month free. They got super silent massage guns, 20% off those. And it's a great quality. It's way less expensive than a Theragun, and it's great quality. So there's so many more discounts that you guys will need to just become a member to see. So they want to provide you with anything you need for success. So come join the community. I'm a part of it. A bunch of other athletes are a part of it. So it's free to join. It takes 20 seconds to get exclusive offers to your sport, and it's definitely worth it. So do us a huge favor and go sign up for Living Sisu's membership. It's free, takes 20 seconds. So go do it, and we'll see you there. Living Sisu is a great company. We know one of the co-founders, Zach Fricali. He's a great guy. He's the co-founder. He does a lot of live streams on Instagram at Living Sisu with a bunch of elite athletes, and you learn a lot from like the athletes' determination, their resiliency, everything to what made them become successful. So it's been a great experience so far. So go on. I'm gonna leave the link in the description. So go sign up. Yo, welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. And in today's episode, we are joined by a very special guest, current professional hockey player, Tyler Spezia. Tyler most recently played in the AHL with the Grand Rapids Griffins and just recently signed to play for the Griffins again next season. Tyler spent majority of his pro career in the East Coast Hockey League and the American Hockey League between the Toledo Walleye and the Grand Rapids Griffins. Tyler played NCAA Division I hockey for Bowling Green State University for 4 years, while also being an alternate captain in his senior year, and spent his junior hockey days in the USHL and the NAL. So this is going to be a really fun interview, Tyler. So welcome to the show, Tyler Spezia.
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me. Excited to be on.
Yeah, no problem. So like, how have things been for you? Like we were talking before, like it's been one hectic summer for you. So how's everything going, especially when the season's coming down to coming up to start?
Yeah, this last month is always jam-packed, training and skating. It's like I said, it's like working a 9 to 5 almost. Except the only thing is you're not getting paid. You're just dishing out money to skate and train, but it's fun. It's part of the gig, grind it out in the summer. Earlier in the summer I played a ton of golf, and so my golf game's pretty good right now, so I'm happy about that. But now I don't get to play as much, with the training and the amping up on the skating.
Yeah, for sure. But at least you were out there playing golf while in the off season, just hitting the links whenever you can before you got super busy.
Yeah, I definitely got my fair share of rounds, and that's for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. So can you give our viewers like a little background information on yourself, like when you started playing hockey, why you started, and like what your path has been growing up until now?
Yeah, so my path is not traditional, so you have to bear with me. But
Sounds good.
and I was a roller hockey player growing up. I started on roller. I started when I was 4 years old. My brother played. He was pretty good, and typical younger brother. You want to do everything that your older siblings are doing, and for me, that my brother was playing roller hockey, so we had a really good thing going at Joe Dumars Fieldhouse, which for all the roller hockey listeners out there, I'm sure they've at one point, if they've ever been to Detroit, they for sure have stepped foot in that building and played there. And unfortunately, it closed down through the pandemic and is gone now, which sucks. But yeah, I grew up playing there at 4, and it's kind of crazy. When I was like 10 years old, 11 years old, there was a gentleman there watching. I think his son was playing. He was watching me play, and he happened to be the son-in-law to the owner of the Red Wings, and he had a big hand in the Little Caesars AAA organization in Detroit, which I'm sure everyone has heard of. It's a big prestigious program here in the Detroit area, and he quickly found out who I was and talked to my parents and then basically told them like, I want to get your kid on the ice. And up to that point, my only ever attempt at playing ice hockey, I went out for a tryout, never played before, and I hated it. I couldn't stop. I didn't like it. I don't think I made it more than 20 minutes out there and I came off crying. I told my mom, I don't want to do this. I want to go home. And I never really gave ice hockey another chance after that. And then, he was huge. His name is Glenn Murray. Great guy. Still talk to him to this day. He pulled me in. He got me to these hockey camps, kind of laid out the foundation of how I was gonna get better at hockey, and it worked. And I started playing at 11, hopped in there. Played 1 year of double A. Loved it. Played well. Our team was really good, and then I jumped into triple A like 1 year later and played 3 years. And then what happens in AAA quite a bit is you get older and coaching change. So there was a coaching change, and I was a smaller guy, and I happened to be injured, and the team was changing coaches, so I wasn't guaranteed a spot. And not only that, I couldn't. I hurt my knee, so I wasn't able to play or even try out for that team. So I actually decided to quit. I was like, you know what, screw that. I felt like I gave it everything I had and I earned a spot on that team, but they didn't. They decided to go the other way and didn't take me long. So yeah, I ended up not playing for like 4 months, and I had met so many people playing, for Little Caesars. I had a couple of past teammates who were playing on a double A team called the Rochester Rattlers, and they begged me and begged me and begged me to come out and play. And I think that constant begging to the point where it was almost annoying was huge looking back at it now. And it was crazy because I was on the fence. I didn't know if I wanted to. I didn't know if I wanted to go that route. And then, ironically enough, just like any kid growing up, sometimes you leave your bag in the car. Sometimes you leave both bags in the car, and that when I say that, I mean roller hockey and ice. And my dad went up to the gas station right at the end of our street, went in there really quickly to buy. I don't even know what he bought. Buy something, and our car got stolen, and it had both sets of gear. So at this moment, now I had nothing. I had no gear. I didn't even have a stick. Like my sticks were in the car too. And we got the car back like a week later, and they had pawned off all my gear, and we couldn't track it down. So like I thought the decision was made for me. Like, yeah, you're not playing. And I grew up in a family, one of five, two hardworking parents, but we didn't have all the money in the world, so it wasn't really feasible to go buy all new gear. But I crazy to think is a lot of these past teammates and guys on this team, gave me gear, and my grandpa bought me skates, so I was able to get gear. And I went out there, I started playing again, and I loved every second of it. It was a really good team. We were double A, but we could we competed with all the triple A teams. Like we were top notch double A team. We ended up winning the national championship that year, which was awesome. And then from there, the team broke up. A lot of those guys went triple A, and I decided to go play high school. And in Michigan, unless you're at there's like 4 or 5 high schools where it's legit, and after that it's pretty close to house league hockey. And so from ages my sophomore, junior, senior year, so 16 to 18, I was playing low level Michigan high school, but I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I did well. It was fun to be a part of the high school athletics. I met a lot of people. I was friends with all the older guys. It made school a lot easier. And I played 3 years of high school, and I then I ended up, my dad in 2010, he passed away from lung cancer. So at that point, I was lost a little bit. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I continued to play. It was hard, but I decided to keep playing. I played my senior year, and then from there, it was decision time. What was I going to do? The coach of my high school team had said like I could go play juniors out in Montana, is what he told me, and I was like, I can't. I'm not going out there like that. So I decided to go back to AAA, and I played my overage year. So my year after high school, I played U18 for Little Caesars, and it was an awesome experience. We were really good. I think looking back now, I think we had 12 guys go Division 1 on that team. We had a lot of big names. A couple guys that made it to the NHL, like Christian Wolanin was one. He's with the LA Kings. We had, like I said, we had a couple other guys who are on NHL deals or in the AHL around that team. And we ended up making it to nationals that year, and we lost in the quarters. We were the first seed. Absolutely just rolled through everybody in round robin and lost our quarterfinal game to the LA Junior Kings. And I played well in that national tournament. I think I set myself up to be recognized, by certain junior teams. I didn't get drafted or anything. I had a bunch of, or I actually tendered with Port Huron in the North America League. I had every intention on going and playing in them all. And then, the USHL draft comes along, and you never know, right? Like, you always hope that you're gonna hear your name called and all that will happen. And it didn't. My name was not called, but right after the draft, I received 2 camp invites, one to Green Bay, one to Dubuque. Decided to go to Dubuque, went there knowing nothing, never been to a junior camp in my life, went there, played very well. I was scoring goals like I've never scored before. And looking back on it now, I'm like, I don't know what happened or how that happened, but I scored a ton of goals. Ended up making the 30-man roster, and they invited me back in the fall. And I wasn't necessarily guaranteed a spot by any means, but I went there. The coach was Jim Montgomery, who he went on to Denver, won national championships with Denver. Then he went to the Dallas Stars, and now he's an assistant for the Blues. So I was playing for a top end coach, and there was a huge learning curve there for me. I was used to playing pretty basic hockey. Keep a third man high. Winger, stay on your D man. Like, and then when I got to juniors, it was totally different. It was such a detailed game. It was. So I had to learn a lot quickly, and I was an overager, so like I only had 2 years of juniors regardless. I would have aged out. So that my first year, it went okay. I learned a lot. Like, I wouldn't trade it for the world just because of how much I learned. I was in and out of the lineup, and then when the trade deadline came, the coach looking out for me. I didn't realize it at the moment, but looking out for me, told me like, hey, you got to go play. If you want to go to college, like, you're not going to get a college scholarship in and out of the lineup. Like, you got to go play. So, he tried to send me to a bunch of random North American League teams, all good teams, but for me, they just weren't appealing. Like, he wanted me to go to Fairbanks, Alaska, which is a great place to play North American League hockey. Great organization where a lot of guys go D1, but that was far from home, and I wasn't quite ready for that. So I decided to go back to Port Huron, which is only 45 minutes from where I grew up. So I got to live at home. My best friend from high school was on the team, and he lived at home, so we commuted together. And I had a ton of confidence going there, and played well. And in my first game, we were playing the Michigan Warriors, who played out of Flint, Michigan. One of my buddies, his name is Brett DeAndre, who was actually my roommate in college. He was committed to Bowling Green, and they were there watching him play. And I didn't even have my last name on my jersey. Like, they didn't even have it printed off. I had no name. And I played a really good game, and the next morning, I'll never forget it. I had a voicemail from assistant coach of Bowling Green saying, like, we want to get you on a visit. And it happened so fast. This was one game, and I hadn't talked to a single coach in the USHL in the half of the season I was there. And within one game in the North American League, I had a school contact me and bring me in on a visit. And from that visit, they had offered me a scholarship, and it was a whirlwind. I visited it. I loved it. I thought it was a place where I could, develop and as a person, as a player. And it was only an hour and a half from home. So I got to stay relevant with my family, and from a physical standpoint, I got to be there for all these things. And then they got to be there for me. They come to, just about every single game. I think my mom missed like 2 of my college games. Crazy. She came all the time. So yeah, it made sense. I went to Bowling Green, went in there with, just if anyone's ever seen me play, my game is I work and I'm relentless. And I think the college game, was ideal for that, because it's such a fast paced game, check everything, get pucks in deep and go to work. And it suited me well. Freshman year production wasn't there, but I played in every game, provided, energy. And then from each year after that, it got better and better and better. And then, my senior year, I got hurt 5 games in, broke my hand, and, really kind of put a damper on my senior year. I had a really good junior year. I think I was like second on the team at points, 30 points in our league was pretty good. But then that senior year, I think I finished like 21 games, 15 or 16 points, maybe more games. I don't know, but I didn't really have all the pro attention that I thought I would have, after having such a good junior year. But decided to sign in Toledo, which was like, again, I'm not only 30 minutes from school and 30 minutes closer to home, only an hour from home. And I got to go there. Absolutely had no clue what kind of pro I was going to be. Had no idea. I went there, played well, got every single opportunity in the world. I got to play power play, penalty kill. We won a ton of games. We went to the Kelly Cup finals, lost in the finals to Newfoundland, but I got to develop my first year vastly, with going on that run with those guys and being with such a great team. And I got called up to the Grand Rapids, on a PTO. They called me up for 8 games. I played. I scored a goal, had an assist, played really well, and came back down for the playoff run. And then from there, I set myself up, to get a contract with Grand Rapids that following season. Got to participate in Red Wings training camp and be around all those NHL guys who I grew up watching, being from Detroit. Went to camp, did well, and then went to Toledo to start the year. Played the first 20 games there. Played really well. I think I was over a point a game. Got called up, and I stayed up. And then the season ended with the pandemic. And then last year happened where we only played 30 games, but I was there for all of them. And then here we are now. I'm going into my 4th year pro with Grand Rapids, and getting ready to go to Traverse City for Red Wings training camp, and just kind of getting ready to go on year 4.
Yeah, that's an unreal story, 'cause especially with like all the hiccups that you faced throughout like your youth growing up, and just everything happened, and then you go on to play your last season in Little Caesars. Would you say that was instrumental for your hockey career, especially since like you had that great experience that you were just like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go live out this dream that I had, and just try and just go through juniors, go through college, and now you're at the pro ranks in the AHL.
Yeah, it's looking back on it now, it's crazy. It's like I said, it's untraditional. Guys my age at 16, 17, and 18, they were either playing in the USHL juniors or even getting ready to be selected in the NHL draft. Like, I was miles behind, but I think that's kind of made me who I am. If I could describe my career in one word, I think I would say uncomfortable. I've never had the chance to be comfortable in any situation. And I've always had to rise to the occasion and prove somebody wrong and keep proving them wrong. And it's just kind of been my mantra, and this has kind of worked out, and it's been crazy. And yeah, that year U18 Little Caesars was very instrumental. It kind of set the tone for me, playing competitive hockey I was playing against kids 2 years, 3 years younger than me, and who had serious potential and who were draft picks and all that stuff. So yeah, it really set the tone for me. But where I always go back to in my story is the foundation, and that for me is roller hockey. Without roller hockey, that guy's never seen me play. And I couldn't even think to myself what would happen if I didn't play roller hockey. So what I always tell guys is, a lot of these ice guys ask me about roller hockey all the time, and I just tell them I'm a roller hockey guy playing ice hockey today, because that's really what I am, and I love it. And I've been fortunate enough to keep playing roller too throughout the summers, and not nearly as much as I used to and as I'd like to, but still getting to play a couple tourneys a summer. That's still a huge focus for me, and something I take a lot of pride in. But yeah, it's all of those steps along the way were so uncomfortable, and I had to make this big time decisions through all of them that I was never able to feel comfortable. And I think, that's propelled me to be where I am today.
Yeah, I think being that saying that you said you were uncomfortable and you have been uncomfortable is huge, because like you can't really get complacent and comfortable in any situation unless you're just gonna stick there. But if you get uncomfortable and get out of your comfort zone, like that's where things really start to develop and like actually like start to make you realize and mature as a player and as a person, just to be able to do the stuff that you wouldn't think you'd be able to do.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, it's always there's a quote that was thrown around at school is, get comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's exactly kind of what I was able to do. And just yeah, never stop proving yourself. I think, that's something that you just got to do. It's sometimes the path to get to where you want to get isn't sunshine and rainbows. It's not handed to you. And a guy like me in my situation, I kind of just kept my head down and doors were opening, and I was going through them with no expectation, just going through them and seeing what was next, and just being as ready as I can for what's next. And yeah, it's been a whirlwind of a career so far, and but definitely something I wouldn't change. Like I said, it's very untraditional, and not many guys who are playing at my level can say like that's the route that they took. So I take a lot of pride in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you should, because like you went through a lot, and you started like questioning yourself and questioning playing, and then you quit a few times, and then you came back and you progressed to be a professional hockey player. Like that's incredible. It's inspirational for everyone, just like having that roller hockey like mindset where you're a roller hockey player but you're playing on ice. Like that's a pretty cool quote as well.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I had a bunch of people, friends especially, pushing me like, "Hey, man, like you love hockey, like you got to play." And they weren't over the top about it, but definitely pushed me. And a couple of my buddies just said, "Hey, come play high school," like something as simple as that, like just come play high school. And that's what I did. And like, yeah, so I had many people along the way to thank. And I definitely didn't get here alone. That's for sure. I had a lot of help along the way, a lot of people pushing and pulling for me. And it's crazy how that works. There's still people I talk to today, and they're people I'll forever be thankful for.
Yeah, that's awesome. So then you go into high school, and you go into juniors. Like, what was high school hockey like, and just exploring like that high school hockey, and then going into juniors after your high school career ended?
Yeah, so high school was fun, man. It was, I scored a lot of goals. I'd have there were some games where I had 5, 6 goals, and like I was not used to that. You know, playing AAA or travel hockey, like you're not scoring 6 goals a game.
Yeah.
Maybe some guys, but not me. I was definitely not one of those guys. So yeah, it was fun. It helped out my high school experience for sure. A lot of guys move away from high school, and they have to go and go to a new high school in whatever city they're playing juniors in. I was fortunate enough to go all 4 years, grow up with my friends and stay with my friends and be home and do all that stuff. And then so I've got to experience both sides of it. And I think a lot of kids, that's tough on them, that they move away from home, and they kind of leave that their old story behind. But for me, I was able to just carry it with me. And yeah, so high school was huge for me. I found love for the game again. I didn't necessarily hate the game, um but it made me love the game more. And I wanted to keep playing. When the last game my senior year, when that ended, I was like, there's no way that I'm done playing. Like I got to play something. And so making that jump to AAA was back to AAA, to the program who cut me. Decided to go back, and it was awesome. And I learned a ton, and I'm still learning a ton to this day. Still learning, which is exciting because when you get older, you think you can't learn anymore, but that has been the polar opposite. I'm learning things every single day, still. And just being around these guys all the time, the Red Wing guys and the Griffins guys, like alone, and just like I still feel like I'm so much younger than I am. Like I'm 28, but I don't feel 28 when it comes to where my game's at. So definitely excited for the future. Love being, playing in the hometown organization. It's been an absolute dream come true. So I'm just trying to enjoy it as best I can and continue to get better every year has kind of been my thought process.
Yeah, absolutely. And I even go back to like the high school hockey days. Like those are the glory days. Like you have so much fun playing high school hockey and being with the boys, and just make so many memories with the team over there. And it's just, you just bring back those memories whenever you get the chance to.
For sure, yeah. And a lot of those guys have been huge, support system for me. Always reaching out and and let me know they're proud of me, and they can't believe I've made it this far, and they're happy for me. So it's been really cool, and I just remember going to that high school locker room as a sophomore. Like, I was tiny, and there's guys who I knew who played on the hockey team. I didn't know them that well, but I was able to get in there and meet all these guys. And as a sophomore and being friends with the seniors, I went to a big public school, so I was able to gain more friends that way. And so yeah, it was a great experience. And like I told you, the hockey wasn't great, but it was so much more than hockey for me. It was I grew up, I learned, like, I hung out with older guys. Like, I just got to experience high school in the best way possible. And that's something that no one can take from me.
Yeah, that's awesome right there. So then you go on to play juniors, and you tender in the NAL for a little bit with the Port Huron Fighting Falcons, where you played in 2 games. You scored your first junior goal there. It's like, what were those first 2 games like in the North American League, and getting that experience before going into your first full season?
Yeah, so I was actually such a weird story, but I don't know if you've had Brandon Hawkins on here or not, or if you will
Mm,
in the future.
I'm
But
I'd be interested.
he, yeah, he's a character, man. He loves hockey more than anyone I've ever met. Super talented player. Grew up with him since I was 4 years old. But he was on my Little Caesars team with me, and I guess I technically tendered in with Amarillo and Port Huron somehow. I'm not entirely sure how that happened, but I did. And I was at practice one day for Little Caesars, and the coach was like, "Hey, like, Port Huron wants to call you up for the weekend. Like, they want you to come up and play." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So this was before practice. I ended up breaking both my sticks in that practice. So
Oof.
now I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna go play in the NAL this weekend. I got no sticks." So Hawk, if you know Hawk, guy's a stick junkie. He'll find a way to make it work. And him and I drove to practice quite a bit because I was in high school and he had like a half a day, so he would come pick me up or vice versa, and we would head downtown to Joe Louis and skate. So after our practice, he drives. I had 2 broken Warrior sticks. He drove us to the Warrior headquarters in Warren, Michigan, and we went in there. And instead of doing the mail it back and get a new stick with a receipt, he went right in there and came out with 2 new Warrior sticks for me. And
That's
I was so
awesome.
nervous. I didn't even go in there. I couldn't go in. He came in, went in there, made it happen. We got 2 brand new Warrior sticks, went on and played in the North America League, and the coaching staff was awesome. Um, the head coach actually wasn't there. He had some kind of a family occasion to attend to, so it was the assistant coach running the bench. And this team in Port Huron, I don't think they had the best budget, so like there were no gloves for me. Like, I didn't have gloves,
Oh,
so I wore the head coach's gloves for my 2 games. And they decided to give me a chance. They put me on the power play. They put me on the half wall. But when I got out there was a guy. I don't know if he got confused or what, but he was playing my position. So now I'm playing the point. I'm up on the point, and someone passes me one to the seam, and I walked in and took a slap shot and scored. And yeah, I'll never forget the feeling. I was like, wow, like, I'm on the power play. I'm playing the point, and I just scored. And then from there, played well. Played the 2 games, played really well. They wanted me to stay the rest of the year, but I wanted to finish out my U18 year with those guys. I thought we had a great team. So I ended up going back, but they still own my rights. So that's ultimately how I ended up falling back into Port Huron after my stint in Dubuque, was because of that previous experience. And I went back, and it's cool because I don't know if you know much about the National Roller Hockey League that I was trying to get off the ground. I got drafted by
yeah.
Port Huron.
Mhm.
And the whole coaching staff was the coaching staff that coached me when I was playing juniors. So it came full
Wow.
circle essentially.
Yeah,
But
that's full
yeah,
circle
those two
right
games
there.
were awesome. I got a taste of junior hockey. I got to play with and against some of the guys my age, which was something that I really wasn't doing because I was playing U18 still. But yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed it. My family got to come down. They were in attendance for that goal, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was kind of crazy how it all unfolded.
Yeah, that's unreal. You break two Warriors before going on that weekend trip. You then go on the power play, playing the point, and then you score a goal like that. That can't be much better than that. Like just how that happened, that just seems like it was a very incredible day and just like that weekend, like a great experience overall.
It was, I just was so nervous. I remember I was nervous. Um, and like I was playing my whole life with the cage on, I was my first time, and I still wear a cage in a game, but there was a guy in the team who literally got hit in the mouth with a puck and was spitting out all his teeth. And I'm like looking around, I'm like, where am I right now? Like, this is insane. But yeah, just to get that little taste, I think was all I needed to be ready for my next, when I would essentially be a full-time junior player.
Yeah, for sure. So then the following year, you find yourself getting a shot in the USH in the U show for the Dubuque Fighting Saints, where you play in 23 games. Like, what was your time in Dubuque like in playing in a great place in Iowa that's a really good organization?
Yeah, it was awesome. Total first class organization, great town. When you think of Iowa, a lot of the knock on Iowa is cornfields, right? Like,
Yeah,
that wasn't the case in Dubuque. Dubuque was that border city that was, across the river, across the one bridge was Wisconsin, and across another was Illinois. Like, it was the tri-state area, boom, right there. Mississippi River ran right through the city. My billet situation was awesome. I lived in like a huge house, like wood house, on a cliff, and with my roommate, who was from Wisconsin. And like I said, it was a huge learning curve. I had no idea how detailed the game of hockey really was. Um, and I learned a ton. And yeah, like I said, I wasn't playing um, as much as I hoped. I got injured actually the first game of the year, got a concussion, and missed like 10 games. And the team went 10-0 without me in the
that's
lineup. So at that point, it's like, all right, well, like, I got to figure it out. And so, what I think I did there was I decided, not decided, but I think it was just kind of who I am, was I was just a good teammate. I was a guy who had fun, kept the room light, was friends with everybody, kind of just made the place my home. And from there, guys were really, really bummed when I left. And the coaches in general, I'll just never forget going to the coach's office with tears in his eyes. He told me like, hey, like, I gotta send you, you gotta play. Like, I gotta send you somewhere where you can play. And then, what really hurt was they went on to win the whole thing that year. So I missed out on that, but still friends with a lot of those guys today. My billet family and other families I met in Dubuque still come and travel to see me and catch games. They came to see me in college. They came to see me in Youngstown. They come to see me play pro. So I've been able to stay in touch with the Dubuque family quite a bit. Um, and yeah, like, for a guy who was only there for 23 games, they sure make me feel like I was a big part of that thing. So I'll always appreciate Dubuque, and it was where I literally learned how to play hockey. That's my best description of my time there, was I learned how to play the game there.
Yeah, that's awesome. You had a huge support system there. It seems like, and then you learned how to play hockey there, and just overall, like, just the organization treated you super well. So like that all like helps with like helping you become a better player and like better person. It's incredible to see like organizations like that and just how they grow and how they treat their players.
Yeah, it was truly a family feel. Everybody, we were all best friends. We did everything together. It wasn't like there was a handful of guys not doing stuff. Like, we were always together. And yeah, that was a very tough one for me, was to pack up my car and leave Dubuque. Like, that was tough. I loved it. I obviously wanted to play more, but as a kid, like, it's so much more to just playing hockey. Like, I loved it. It's my first time away from home. I was on my own, hanging out with all these guys who were great hockey players, great people, great friends, and I loved it. And it was really hard to go, but looking back on it now, it's like, I even texted the coach when it happened, like, thank you very much for moving me on to play, because it made a huge difference. I was able to carry everything I learned from Dubuque and apply it to my game at the North American League level, and earn a scholarship, which was the goal from day one, was I want to play Division 1 hockey, and I was able to do that. I know I committed in Port Huron, but I have Dubuque for sure to thank for that. Just like I said, it just taught me the game.
Y-
Taught me, the structured side of the game.
Yeah.
It was just a great experience.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. That's unreal. So then the following year, you joined a Youngstown Phantoms team where you played 58 games, and you were a staple in the lineup while also being named an assistant captain for the team. So like, how special was that last year of juniors and taking on that leadership role?
Yeah, I was committed to school, so technically I didn't have to go to the USHL. The coaches in Bowling Green had said, like, if you want, we can send you to the Ottawa, the CCHL. We can send you to the BCHL. You can stay in the North American League, whatever you want to do. But for me, like, I always wanted to play in the USHL. I wanted to be a part of a team for a full season. And Youngstown selected me. I think it was like 14th round, maybe later. And I went there as a veteran. And real quickly, like, it happened so fast. I had a really good camp, made the team, and boom, their first day of practice gave me a letter. And that was something that I really enjoyed. I've always, you know kind of led by example, um, but that was a chance for me to be more of a vocal leader. And we had some really good players. My roommate Kyle Connor, who plays for Winnipeg now, I'm sure you guys have all heard of him. Really good
Yeah.
player. Yeah, he was my roommate. He was 16 years old, so I was trying to, help him out, and not in a hockey standpoint, from away from hockey. We would golf, we would hang out, we would, play video games. Just wanted to look out for him and be there for him. And it's been great seeing him excel and be where he is at now, and being a huge force in the league and one of the most underrated players in the league, if you're asking me. Just to see where he's gone, and knowing that, like, I spent a full year with him and we had a great time. But Youngstown was awesome. The coaching staff, Anthony Nareen, who's now the head coach and GM of Tri City, he was awesome. He absolutely took me under his wing, and him and I had a really good relationship. And he's a guy who I'm definitely going to try to link up with after hockey. He had always told me, whenever I'm ready to coach, come find him, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, just our team, from the standings wise, we weren't very good, but I love that group. We had a lot of guys who have turned in some really good careers. But that year was tough from a wins and losses standpoint. But at the same time, I got to go through that, and I've been lucky enough since that year to be, more on the winning side of games. I haven't really gone through that since, and I think I learned a ton, from the wins and losses and the lows of a season that year, and was able to, like, bring that all in together, and apply that, and basically tell myself I don't want to be losing 10 games in a row. Like, it got so bad in Youngstown where the coach came in one day and he's like, if we win this game, I will literally buy you guys a ping pong table. Like, that's where we were at. Like, we were,
Did you
and
guys
you lose
win?
12. We did. You lose 12 games in a row in juniors. Like, that's like almost 5 weeks
Yeah, it's a
of
long
losing,
time.
showing up every single day, knowing we haven't won a game, and so just going through that with the guys, I think was big too. Obviously it was a negative at the time, but looking back on it now, for sure a positive, just being able to maneuver through that, and be better for it on the other side. But that year in Youngstown was great. I felt wanted. I felt, they had drafted me. They wanted me there. They put me in a position to play. I actually, played up the lineup, played on the top line most nights with Kyle Connor and another guy, JJ Pickenich, who had a really good junior career and pro career as well. He was a draft pick in Toronto. So I was playing with these young emerging talents. And yeah, it made me elevate my game from an offensive standpoint. Didn't necessarily have the numbers I wanted, but was able to, you know, share the ice with these guys, and see it firsthand, and kind of use that moving forward, stepping into college that next season.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes you a better person, a better player overall. Just being there and going through those experiences, being a leader, and then with like you guys losing 12 games in a row, like it takes a lot of courage to get up after knowing for 5 weeks you guys have been losing, and then you guys take a lot of learning experiences from that, and just like to so it doesn't happen again the next time you guys go on a little drought.
Yeah, and I think it might have propelled the Phantoms moving forward, because then, those next 2 years they were a force in the league. I think the one year they won the Anderson Cup, which is the best record, and they had really good hockey teams. And so I think from me personally and from the organization, like those were huge steps to take, and it obviously panned out for the better for both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. So then after your junior career ended, you became a college hockey player and you began your journey at Bowling Green State University. It's like what made you choose BGSU to be your school for the next 4 years? And like what was that transition going from juniors to NCAA Division I hockey?
Yeah, it was awesome. I absolutely loved my time at Bowling Green. It was so sad when it was over, and still get down there as much as I can. But ultimately, it came down to, first of all, they were the first school to contact me, showed interest in me. It was nice to feel that. Especially as a kid who kind of just buried his head and just kept climbing the ranks silently. To get that recognition and to feel wanted. And when I went on my visit, just the message that they had sent to me, and just kind of the way that they laid it out to me, and their recruiting process was big time. I felt like that was a place where I would be a better player, a better person, a better student. um and then, the proximity to home was big. Hour and a half from home. My mom and family could come down all the time. I was close enough where I could get home for certain things, or if I just needed to get home for a night for a birthday or whatever, I was able to do that. And then financially, they had opened the checkbook, and we're gonna pay for my school. And that was something that, the first couple of talks I had about Division I were walk on, like potential walk on. And for them, to offer me a scholarship and to invest a dollar amount in me was awesome, and I love that. And I always felt like if I could earn a scholarship, that would help, in a way, pay my mom back, letting her know, like, hey, like, you don't have to work two jobs anymore to fund this. Like, we're gonna do this. And so yeah, that was basically, those are the reasons I chose BG. And then when I got there, it was great. I came in with 11. There was 11 of us freshmen. I roomed with Brett DeAndrew, who I mentioned earlier, who's from Port Huron area, and who I played juniors with, and who I knew before juniors. So I came in with him and Hawk, he was also there as well, another guy I grew up with. So I had some familiar faces, and then I was able to meet a bunch of guys from teams I had played against in the North American League, the USHL, and then guys who I'd never played against, and the guys who were from like Western Canada and played in the BC League, and we kind of all came together, meshed. And 11 guys is a big chunk of your team. And we came together pretty quickly. And we were a huge core part of that team. And it just got, as the years went on, we had lost some guys. I think when I started was 11. When I graduated, it was 4. We had some guys leave and sign NHL deals. We had some guys transfer. So, and for me, I was 21 years old and going into school, which is old, right? And so there were seniors on the team that were a year older than me, if not my age. So I bonded with them very quickly. And so as a freshman, I'm friends with the seniors, and the kind of just following their lead, and getting to know them, and just kind of seeing how it's gone, and how it's going to go, and just kind of following, like I said, following their lead in practice, with school, with all that stuff. It was great. And another thing with BG is the schooling part. 16,000 students, which is not a lot, but
Yeah.
it's still a lot. Like, I met new people all the time. And like, for me, Bowling Green was always that school I drove past, because it's literally right off I-75 South. It looks like it's a truck stop almost, and then there's a university. So I always drove past it and kind of always looked at it like, well, I wonder what that place is like. And then so for me to actually get a chance to experience it, and be a student athlete there, and it was great. The social life was great. The school part was great. I studied finance. So I got my degree, which, regardless if you're playing, if you have any intention on playing pro or not, like, you're gonna have to, there's gonna be a time where that game ends. So if you can fall back on a degree, that's big. And I was able to get that, which is something I'm super excited about and proud of. And so I got that going for me. So I came out of there with the knowledge of hockey and developing my game and putting my game in a spot to where I could play pro. And then worst case, I had my degree, so Bowling Green really set me up for a great future, regardless of the path that I chose. And I love the coaching staff. I love the staff. BG is a place where all the student athletes are kind of intertwined together. So friends with all the sports teams, and so it was just a great experience. It was such a good fit for me. It was everything I'd hoped for and more. And it was so hard to leave. And my little brother is going to be a senior this year there. He plays baseball, so still get to go down there quite a bit and see everybody and be there for him and just kind of see the changes that the school has made. And it's made me miss it so much. And once a summer I go down there for our alumni golf outing and get to see all of my old teammates, meet some alums and just kind of hang out and enjoy, the non-hockey part of Bowling Green, which has been a lot of fun over the years.
Yeah, that's incredible that you had a great experience at BGSU. And then you were talking earlier in the episode that you didn't really produce as much as you wanted to your freshman year. So like what do you do to help yourself be better prepared going from year 1 to year 2 and then gain that confidence from year 3 to year 4?
Yeah, I think freshman year is tough. I think it's tough across the board, no matter if you're highly recruited or not. I think it's such a different style. You're incorporating school into the mix, so you're trying to balance all these things, so it's very hard. But yeah, I always just told myself I'm just going to work. And in college is a place where I wasn't looked on to produce, I guess, in that situation. So I just focused on working hard and buying into what was going on. My freshman year, I played with 2 other freshmen on a line. We were the 4th line. We played hard. I got bumped up a couple times to the top line, and I was able to produce in those situations. And I think just being patient, realizing that school is a 4-year thing, and I wasn't going to conquer it all my freshman year, and just kind of staying patient and just getting more comfortable there every year. I think Bowling Green was a place over time where I was finally able to, like I had mentioned earlier, I was uncomfortable, but BG over time, I was able to feel comfortable. I had it down. I knew how to balance hockey and school, social life, family, all that stuff. I found out how to balance that. And so, and I lived there in the summers. I didn't come home in the summer. I stayed there in the summer, trained with that coach, with the strength staff there, and made BG my home. And met a ton of people, was involved in the community a ton. And I think that helped me out a lot because, I just got so accustomed to being in Bowling Green that it felt like home. And that made it easier every single year. And every single year I progressed. And I will even say my senior year production wise didn't progress, but I learned a lot about, like, that was the first time I really sat out for injury. So, I learned a ton that year and realized like I didn't like watching my team play very much. So I was fortunate enough to be on the bad side of that and just kind of realize like I don't want to get used to this. And yeah, was able to, like I said, decided I was going to try to play pro, and BG had set me up greatly for that. And we were a school so close to the NCAA tournament, all 4 of my years, and my junior year especially, we lost in double overtime in the conference championship to Michigan Tech. And like one guy on our team fired one off both posts. Now, like, we were inches away from getting to that tournament. And ultimately, was something that I never got to experience. But the motto in BG from the coaches was always, to the class that's leaving or the class that's coming in. The idea was to leave Bowling Green better than you found it. And I think my class did that. The next year, that team made the NCAA tournament, lost to Duluth in overtime, and Duluth ended up winning the national championship. So I'm proud of my time. I can honestly say I think I left Bowling Green better than I found it, for sure. And like I said, that was kind of what was communicated to us early when we got there. And to see that happen for those guys was awesome. And now the program's in such a great spot, and a lot of guys are excelling and moving on. And so it's great to see where it is now.
Yeah, that's unreal. And just going from year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, like seeing yourself and the team progress and then like the classes under you just keep doing the same thing and just helping to grow the program.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was huge. Best friends were made there, lifelong friends were made there, hockey and non-hockey. So it was just so much, I've said it a couple times, but college is so much more than hockey, right? Like,
Yeah.
just you're a student athlete. There's two sides to it. And fortunately enough, we were, our coaches allowed us to be college kids. It wasn't like you're hockey, hockey, hockey. It was like, go out, enjoy yourselves, like hang out, meet people, do your thing. Like, so we were able to really live that college life as well as be a part of a hockey program, which was a great balance for kids, for us kids, trying to play hockey and figure life out. I think that was a huge balance.
Yeah, that's awesome there. So then after your senior year, you found yourself on a team the following year in the East Coast with the Toledo Walleyes. Like, what was the process like to find Toledo and just that experience of your first pro season?
Yeah, so I had a really good buddy, Shane Birchback, his name is. He played with me my first year pro, but he had played many years prior to that. He played at Western Michigan, a guy I grew up, and I met him through roller hockey actually. And he leads the walleye, I think, in just about every single category you could imagine. Really great hockey player, one of the best players I've ever played with in all leagues. I will say, like, this guy was legit. So I would hop down which, like I said, Toledo was like a 25-30 minute drive north from Bowling Green. So I would go down there quite a bit and watch walleye games. And for anyone that doesn't know much about the walleye, so the walleye have a state of the art rink, 8,000 seats, and doesn't matter what day the game is on or what time, there's 8,000 fans there. It is a off the charts atmosphere. It literally feels like you're in the NHL when you're playing there, just from an atmosphere and crowd and community standpoint. So, and I've heard horror stories about the East Coast League and some of these cities and how and I was able to see firsthand, and I wanted to be a part of it. I didn't, like I said, I didn't know what kind of pro I was going to be. I didn't know where I was going to fall, if I was going to get American League shot or not. I didn't. So I went into Toledo and I loved it. It was, like I said, I got to stay close to my college buddies, and I was an hour from home. I had buddies in Toledo, and my first game got my first assist, and then I got sat. I got pulled out of the lineup for a game, and it's not like college. If for us, like, since Toledo plays a lot of teams that are fairly close. Like, if you were playing in that game, like, you're sitting at home. Like, I didn't even travel with the team, and that's when I was like, what am I doing? I don't. This is horrible. Um, I didn't want to feel like that anymore, and I was really lost. And and they didn't know anything about me. I was a rookie. Like, they decided to sign me. They didn't know, and I didn't even know my potential or necessarily what kind. Like I said, what kind of pro I was going to be. But from that point on, I was like, I'm not going down this route again. Like, I'm not sitting out any of these games. Like, I don't. That was horrible. I don't want to experience this for a minute longer. And from there, I just put my head down, buried my head, grinded it out, and just you know got developed a great relationship with the coaching staff. Built my trust, built those relationships, and they trusted me, and I was able to play. And like I said, it became great. Like, they put me on the top line where I played with my buddy Shane and another guy, AJ Jenks, who played many years in the American League. He was a guy who won World Junior gold medal with the Team USA. Like, great hockey player, great person. I got to play with these guys, and they elevated. I had no choice but to elevate my game. I'm playing on the top line, but I'm playing on the top line for a team that's really good. So I just played. I didn't think too much. I decided I was just going to play hockey, and it worked. I was producing, and I was on the power play. I was killing penalties, playing every night. And then we were playing in Fort Wayne, and we were down 2-1 with like 30 seconds left, and I got a pass from the D. We had our goalie pulled, and I blew around the D man, took it to the net, and scored with like 15 seconds left to tie it up, and we won in the shootout. And the coach pulled me aside after the game. He said, "Hey, like you're gonna stay here tonight. You're getting called up to Grand Rapids. You got to fly out in the morning. You're gonna stay in this hotel. You're gonna have to Uber to the airport and fly. And you're gonna meet the team in Rockford. You know, they got a bunch of injuries. They don't even have enough guys to fill the lineup. So you're gonna go play." And I couldn't believe it. You know, my mom and brother were at the game in Fort Wayne because it's from home. It was only like 2.5 hours. From Toledo it was an hour and a half. And you know, for a trip that's an hour and a half, I sure as heck didn't bring. I didn't bring many things. I brought a phone
Yeah.
charger, and I was wearing my tracksuit. I didn't have a toothbrush, nothing. So thankfully, one of my teammates had one of those disposable toothbrushes. He gave me one, and it was weird. The bus left, and I was kind of just sitting there, like, all right, well, I got to get to this hotel somehow. And the owner of the Fort Wayne Comets asked me if I needed help, and he drove me to the super nice guy. He drove me to the hotel, and you know, I was so nervous. You know, I had like a 4 a.m. wake up call. I had to fly into
Oh,
Chicago and take an hour and a half car service from Chicago to meet the team in Rockford at the hotel. And, you know, thankfully, a kid I grew up playing with, Dominic Shine, a kid I played on Little Caesars with when I was a kid, he was on that team. And, you know, one of my good buddies to this day. So, you know, I was able he was kind of able to show me the ropes. Another guy who I knew from roller hockey, Chris Terry, who plays roller every summer, is another guy I met over the years. He was there. So, you know, these guys took me under their wing quickly. You know, went and played in the Rockford game. I showed up wearing a Toledo Walleye tracksuit because that's all I had. Playing the game, was on the power play. Like, they gave me every chance. You know, I rang one off the bar, but I played well, and I knew from that moment that I could play in that league, and it's something I wanted to. And they decided to keep me after that game, and went to Manitoba the next weekend. I didn't play the first night. Got scratched, and then they put me in the next. It was like a day game, and they put me in. I scored, and the second game scored my first goal, and you know, it was kind of just rolling. I only played in 8 games that year, but I think I was probably there for like 20 something games, and and I really enjoyed my time and the coaches and everything, and knew I wanted to be back. And then, you know, I went back down for the playoffs and in the Kelly Cup playoffs, and you know, we went on a run, and I played really well. And you know, just got to continue my season. And you know, the longer you play, the more people you get to play in front of. So you know, the East Coast playoffs are highly scouted. Um, so you know, I was able to draw enough attention from Grand Rapids for them to offer me a contract, and I was super excited. It was such a great feeling. I'll never forget. I was working a summer job in a warehouse when I got the call, and I was so ecstatic. You know, I realized I was going to be going to Red Wings camp, which is something that I grew up going to as a kid and watching. And you know, and then you got Steve Eiserman is the GM, and like, that's one of my favorite hockey players ever. So like, and there's guys, Nick Cronwall, Dan Cleary, you know, guys who are player development guys who I see every day now, and like, I still am a little starstruck by them because I watched them play my whole life. Um, so it's been really cool to you know, to be on both sides of that, and to be playing for the hometown team, and you know, just to build comfort at that level over time. And you know, and now I'm, you know, last year I played the full year there, and I'm looking to do that again. So I'm just able to progress, and it's been awesome. I absolutely have enjoyed every second of it, and definitely something I don't take for granted. Just, you know, Grand Rapids Griffins jersey on the left shoulder, there's a winged wheel. And you know, to me, that means a ton, you know, just from where I grew up, and just kind of how my it just puts everything into perspective. You know, it all starts with the Little Caesars program when I was young, and you know, they were closely involved with the Red Wings, and then now for me to be in the Red Wings organization, and it's just kind of come full circle, is crazy. And I now more than ever, I've really stopped myself and like thought about it, and it's been so cool. And you know, I'm so blessed to be in this situation, and the way that it's all worked out has been incredible.
yeah, that's awesome. Like, very cool and surreal moments right there, and just like everything you're gonna hold for a lifetime. So like throughout like your pro career so far, like you face ups and downs, obviously. So like, how do you get around those obstacles when you face them head on, and just you have to forget about the struggles and just keep working and grinding?
yeah, for a guy like me, I when I got those 8 games in my first year, and I was scratched and in and out of the lineup. So like at that moment, I was just happy to be there. And after that, I went to Red Wings camp, and then they sent me to Toledo, and I wasn't too thrilled about it. I felt like because Grand Rapids doesn't have their own camp, so I went to Red Wings camp, but I wasn't necessarily. Yeah, I practiced with the main team a handful of times, but other than that, I was with a small group, so I didn't really feel like I had a chance to make Grand Rapids. So I took, but I did it the right way. I didn't get pissed off and down on myself. I just told myself I'm gonna go to Toledo where I'm comfortable. I just came so close to winning a championship there. I'm gonna come here. The team's going to be great again. I'm going to play meaningful hockey games. We're going to win a lot of games, and through 20 games, I was feeling it. I was playing really well, producing, over a point per game, scoring, doing whatever, fighting, doing it all, and I was in a good spot, and I got called up, and yeah, I went up there again and earned it, and I made it. I told myself I'm just going to make it as hard as I can every night for them to pull me out of this lineup. And in the American League, it's tough because it's prospect driven. They have all these prospects that they're building to be on their NHL team. So and they get it's on them first, right? And so
Yeah.
guys like me gotta filter in, when needed. And I've really just found a way to be a good pro about it, and just kind of show up every day with a smile on my face, and be a good teammate, good locker room guy, and just kind of just enjoy it. And that's just kind of what I've done. And just show up every day ready to work, and then just be a good guy through it all. And it's been a lot of fun. Yeah, and there's been tons of challenges, in and out of the lineup. When you think you're playing well, you get pulled out. Just staying patient, and just staying in the mode, and not being too hard on yourself, and just waiting your turn. And thankfully, it's been better each season. And now I'm in a spot to where I could earn a full time position there, and then just be a part of that organization, and helping these prospects get to where they need to get, and just being a huge part of the organization. That's kind of where I'm at now, just wanting to play hard, and show the young guys the way, and just hopefully that they can achieve what they're trying to achieve, and just do anything I can for the team. Just kind of been my mindset now, and it's been working.
Yeah, that's a great mindset, and like everything like you experience, like it's just proves like how good of a pro you are. Like you're helping your team, and you're just helping everyone get better, and as well as just learning from those up and downs experiences, especially the down experiences, and just have helping everyone else push through it, especially since you've been through all those situations, and you just have to, it's hard, it gets tough, and it gets tiring and all that, but you just got to keep working, and eventually something will go right, no matter
Yeah.
what.
Yep, you just got to stay on it. It is a business, it's a career. It's just like going to any job, right? Like if you're not performing, they're gonna pull you aside and say something, or pull you out of the lineup. So I think just being ready for that next opportunity, and just staying in the moment, you're not thinking too far ahead, not dwelling on the past, just staying in it every day has really helped me out. And I've been fortunate to play with some great players, some great people, and I've met a lot of great guys who I continue to to be a part of the program with. So I got a lot of buddies there now, and it's getting more comfortable every year. Still not comfortable, but we're heading that way. And like I said, I absolutely love playing for the Red Wings organization in Grand Rapids, which is a great place to live, and a great city, and great fans and community. So I'm just trying to enjoy it, man. It's been an awesome ride so far. Like I said, entering year 4, can only hope we just keep on the upward trajectory.
Yeah, absolutely. So going into this past season, you were with Grand Rapids full time during the COVID season. So like, what was it like during the COVID season, especially with like the shortened schedule, and like you're playing games? It could be like every other day, or it could be like a week and a half before your next game.
Yeah, it was definitely weird. I think the strangest part of it all was just the uncertainty we had, for the longest time, I didn't even announce a season. We didn't even know if we were going to be playing. And then, you started seeing teams opt out, like Milwaukee, Charlotte, Springfield, they decided to opt out. So now we're like, what are we doing? And then, they finally came out with the February 6th start date, which was crazy because you're used to being ready to go and, mid-September. So now I was able to, I felt like I maybe was burnt out a little bit, just training and skating all the time, just not knowing when we were going to play, if we were going to play, just trying to stay as ready as I could was tough. Um, but I wasn't alone, the guys I work out with and skate, we were all kind of going through it together. So, and I was able to do so many things. Like I got to go on vacations in October. I got to go to a bunch of weddings. Like I got to do a lot of things. So, using that time to kind of like not think about it, but be ready at the same time was big. I got to hang out with people I haven't got to hang out with in a while. Like I said, I got to go. I went on a golf trip to Hilton Head in October, which is just not feasible in a normal year. Um, and then realizing we're playing 32 games in Michigan, in order to play without a face mask on, like we had to test 6 out of 7 days. So every morning I'm getting tested and getting something jammed up my nose every morning. Just not it became pretty. It was like we were in a little bit of a bubble. Go to the rink, go home. Go to the rink, go home. Get on the bus, go home. And for us, we usually stay over and stay in hotels, but this year, we did not. We stayed one night at a hotel. We went to Iowa because it was so far. But other than that, we went day of game trip, right after the game, get home. So, one of our long trips, Cleveland, is like 5-hour drive, leave at 11 a.m., get home at 4 a.m., and then, maybe have a game the next night at home. And in the beginning, it was very slow. We were playing like one game a week, a lot of practicing, a lot of, time on our hands. Like it was crazy. And then, once we got halfway through, that last month of May was like a game every other day. I think we played 16 games in 22 days was how
Wow.
we ended it. And it was just like a blur. It happened so fast. And in my situation, we had Detroit had traded 2 defensemen at the trade deadline, John Merrill and Patrick Nemeth. So when that happens, they took 2 of our D. And when we were down 2D. And then we had 2D come down with COVID
Oh,
for a long time. So I actually I played like 8.5 games on D, and I had never played D and ice in my life. So I am playing D in the American League. Um, it was crazy. But if anyone's ever seen me play, I'm a good skater. Skating is my biggest asset. So they had thought, hey, like you're a good skater. We think you'll be able to do this for us and all that. So it was actually crazy. I didn't even know. I walked in and I saw the lineup for our game that night versus Chicago, actually at home, and I was on D. So right before our morning skate, the game got canceled. Someone on Chicago had tested positive, so I was able to get an actual practice in on D. And then for the next 8 games here, I was playing D, and I was a guy who probably played anywhere from 11 to 14 minutes a night up front, and then now I'm playing D. I'm playing 17 to 18 minutes a night. And I did well. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was something that I would absolutely dread, but I really enjoyed it. It was challenging. It was a different kind of a challenge, and it excited me a little bit. And then I was able to get through that and play well, and to the point where guys in the organization, coaches were like, "Man, like we think you could actually play D," um, and it was talked about. But at the same time, it's like I get it, but no, maybe if you're ever in a crunch next year or
yeah.
whatever, I can hop back there and play D. Yeah, but it was a
Not
really
full
unique
time.
season for me. No, not full time, definitely not full time. But yeah, it was super unique. I played forward, I played D. Only position I didn't play was goalie, so I got to add that to my belt. And the weirdest part of the year was just no matter what we did, it didn't matter. There was no playoffs. Like it didn't
Yeah.
matter if we
Hmm.
went undefeated. It didn't matter. Like our last game, May 16th, was our last game. And then from there, just kind of all, we weren't able to do anything. So we hung out once as a team, and then everyone kind of went home. And now here we are in somewhat of a normal summer as it seems, with the 3 months training, skating, and then getting ready for the next season. So hopefully, entering this year will be a little bit more normal. But, with the way that these things have gone, you just never know at this point.
Yeah, for sure. A unique season for sure. And that brought a lot of unique situations and unique experiences, but you took the most of it and rode with it and took it in stride. So that's all you can do when you face those situations. You just gotta take it and go with it.
Yeah, I looked at it as a way for me to play more, right? And
Yeah,
that's exactly what it
exactly.
was. And I got to play with, I started a game on D. It was just a lot of fun. It was different. And they had told me like, hey, we have no expectation for you. Just play hockey. So I just played hockey like I was a kid and had fun. Made plays. I will say the hardest part for sure was getting back for a puck and communicating to your partner or to the goalie like what to do with it and just kind of knowing where the pressure was. That was very hard adjustment for me. But no, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Something that I'll never forget. And hopefully, I can apply a little bit of it to my game now and just kind of understand, the defensive side of everything. And so I'm excited for this upcoming year. The summer is an absolute grind, so just getting ready, get to that opening night and then get the season started is kind of what I'm looking forward to. But a lot of work to be done still, and this last month or so, we'll get back to it and hopefully be ready to go from puck drop.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a few more questions before we wrap things up here a little bit. So do you have any tips for hockey players looking to get to that next level?
Yeah, for me in my situation, it was just like it sounds so cliche, but have fun. If especially in pro hockey, like there can be times where everything is set up for you to be, miserable, but you just got to have fun and you got to go back to those moments when you were a kid and all that stuff. But yeah, just have fun. And if it's not fun anymore, then it's going to be an uphill battle. But yeah, you just got to enjoy the game. And I think just a big thing is just staying, in the moment and just being ready to go for anything. Like I said earlier, not dwelling on the past, not looking too far ahead, but just being in the moment, being present every single day and just enjoying what you're doing. As much as it can suck sometimes, like you got to realize what you're doing, the lifestyle you're living. You got summers off. There's so much downtime. You're playing hockey as your job. Like, so you just got to stay, you got to enjoy what you're doing and you got to be present every single day because you don't want to miss anything and you don't want opportunity to slip by. So yeah, definitely just enjoy it and be present.
Yeah, those are some great tips for everyone. So that's awesome. So my next question for you is what's been your favorite thing about playing in Grand Rapids?
I think, I always go back to my youth, just watching the Red Wings, seeing these guys, and now I'm right there. I see, like I told you earlier, I see Steve Eiserman, Dan Cleary, Nick Cronwall. Like I see these guys every day. I think just realizing as a kid, how much these guys had an impact on your life and your childhood and your best sports moments and all that stuff. Watching them lift a cup and then seeing these guys and meeting them and talking to them every single day is crazy. And it's something that I will always enjoy. It's something that I do enjoy and I always look forward to when the season starts. And then, just wearing the winged wheel, in training camp and on my shoulder in Grand Rapids, just, being a part of this organization has been everything I could have asked for and more. And then, Grand Rapids as a city is awesome. It's a up and coming city, very young city, lots to do, lots of great restaurants. The community's big. They love hockey there, and just living in West Michigan. I'm from the east side, so I'm just moving out to West Michigan and kind of seeing how it is out west, and then just being a part of, like I said, such a great community and city and organization has been, like I said, everything I hope for and more. And I'm just really fortunate enough that this kind of all unfolded this way, and I'm able to be a part of the organization.
Yeah, that's awesome right there. And Grand Rapids is definitely a city I want to get to soon and just go see a game there like that. It like the atmosphere seems unreal there.
Oh yeah, it is for sure. It's a good time. They want to win, really bad, and playing at Van Andel when it's packed, 10,000 people is a lot, and it feels like it feels like an NHL, game, and there's NHL talent out there. So I just sometimes I almost sit there as a fan, watching these young prospects play, and but then I got to realize like, hey, like I got to play as well. So it's been a great balance of like being a fan and helping and trying to win games for a city that deserves it.
Yeah, absolutely. So my final question for you is like, what's your favorite pump up song? Like you're trying to get a lift in, a workout in, pregame warm ups. Like, what are you listening to?
Um, See, like I go many ways with that. I like the classic rock and roll, AC/DC,
Yeah. Hmm.
Aerosmith, stuff like that. And then I like rap. I like Juice World. I like Future. I like some of Drake's stuff, but for me, I would say EDM. Like I'm a big Kygo guy, house music. So like I listen to Kygo all the time. So I'd have to go with Kygo for sure. He's got probably 10 songs that I can listen to, if not more. But Kygo's frequent flyer in my playlist.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. So Tyler, this has been so much fun. So thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time. I want to wish you the best of luck going forward with your career and for next season in Grand Rapids. And I look forward to following your career the rest of the way and hopefully come out to Grand Rapids and see a game in Grand Rapids. And I'm sure I'll see you in Chicago this year too.
Yeah, definitely, man. I really enjoyed it. I love what you're doing. I think it's awesome. I think especially now more than ever, people are talking hockey and all aspects of it. Getting stories, learning what it's like. So I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate you having me on. And yeah, you're gonna have to let me know anytime you want to come to Grand Rapids and bring whoever you want. Just let me know, and we can set it up and do all the cool things. Give you a tour and all that stuff, and you get to take in a game. So hopefully you can get out. And if not, I will definitely see you in Chicago.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that.